Welcome back, everyone, to an ordinary search for truth. My name is Nate, and today we're going to be talking about what is ego, and the truth will set you free. Now, I've talked about this before in different ways on my channel, but I'm presenting it here again because it is an incredibly important concept to understand and explore on your own. So I invite you to be open-minded about this, and um, very critical in this investigation is that you actually investigate yourself and see if what I'm presenting here is valid and true in your experience. So let's dive right in. The ego is the experience of being a finite self which is built upon and sustained by limiting beliefs. Or a simpler way to say this might be that the ego is a fundamental misidentification of self. I'll say that one more time. The ego is a fundamental misidentification of self. So to go into this a little bit deeper, it is any thoughts or beliefs about what you are that are superimposed upon or are veiling the truth about what you actually are. Now, what's tricky is that what you actually are cannot be contained or understood with thoughts, concepts, beliefs, or language. What you actually are can only be experienced. But we can use our mind, which operates with language and concepts and beliefs and things like that, to start dissolving or seeing through our misidentified thoughts and beliefs in regard to ourself. Now, for me, this was quite a long and difficult process to undergo, but in my experience, it's essential to do in order to open the mind enough to allow you to experience what you are beyond what the mind can comprehend. The mind believes that it can comprehend everything that's worth understanding. And the problem with that is that our mind is finite. So if hypothetically what we are is not finite, then we would not be able to use the mind as a finite tool to understand what is outside of its capabilities. So what is this process where we are able to become aware of our limiting beliefs or the misidentifications that the mind has made? Well, the process is what is typically called self-inquiry. Self-inquiry can take many forms, but its essence is engaging in deep, open questioning of everything that we believe that we are, to discover if those things are truly fundamental or phenomenal in nature. To put it more simply, can we confirm that every belief about what we are is undeniably consistent and present throughout every aspect of our experience? If not, then that belief must not be fundamentally essential to ourself. In going through this process, we can begin to remove things that we have misidentified ourselves to be fundamentally, which is quite literally a systematic dissolving of our ego, or a dissolving of our misidentified beliefs about ourselves. we can eventually begin to experience an answer to the question, what cannot be removed from me under any circumstances? Whatever that is, must be what I fundamentally am. What can be removed is our ego. What cannot be removed is our true fundamental self. Now, your guiding reference in this process is your direct experience. As you go through this process yourself, if you choose to, I highly recommend that you do, you will begin to notice that what can be removed from you is always some kind of limiting belief or something that is finite or phenomenal, the nature of which is that it can arise and dissipate in your experience in one form or another. But what you feel that you are, kind of intuitively, the core of you, the feeling of I am, I exist, that is always present. And it is always there, observing or witnessing the appearance and disappearance of everything that is finite. As the misidentifications of what you believe that you are seen to be not fundamental to yourself, the truth about what you are will begin to reveal itself more apparently in your experience. This entire process is an act of true seeing, which illuminates the illusory foundations upon which the ego is built, until eventually there is no foundation left for the ego to stand on and it falls away. In its absence, or the absence of misidentification of self, what will remain is that which cannot fall away. You will experience your true self. The mind, however, which is by nature in the business of misidentification, will not be able to comprehend this experience. And in most people, including myself, it won't stay silent for long. The mind will come in and try to explain and describe and conceptualize this experience. And these explanations and descriptions and beliefs will form a new foundation upon which the ego will be able to stand once again. But at this point, you've already gone through the process at least once, which means that you're now prepared with the ability, or you could say the skill, of being able to question the truth that the ego is claiming that it stands upon. And as you go through the self-inquiry process again and again, these illusory foundations will also be seen for what they are. Things that can be removed that are not fundamental to yourself. Now, it can be very difficult to retrain the mind to not habitually misidentify what you are with what you think or believe that you are in terms of thoughts, beliefs, concepts, language. The mind will always come in with these things in an attempt to tell you what you are. These are the only tools that the mind has. It's the only way that the mind knows how to know anything. But here's the secret, which if you watched my previous videos, you probably know where this is going. Um, what you fundamentally are not a thing that the mind can know. You are not a finite object that the mind can use thoughts, beliefs, descriptions, and concepts to know. The mind will thus never be able to truly grasp what you are, really. But it may take a lot of time and a lot of convincing for the mind to accept this fact and to be okay with being silent on the subject. And so, because of this, the ego or the act of misidentification will always be just a thought away, just a belief away. But if you go deeply into this self inquiry process and you actually have the experience of what you are, even if you only have this experience once, the, the ego will never be able to fool you for very long again. The ego process will come back, the identifications of the mind will come back, and you may make a misidentification again. That's completely natural and part of the extended process. But it won't be able to fool you for very long because there will be a part of you that remembers that experience, that remembers what you truly are, that knows what you truly are. And it will always call you back to this experience. It may take years for you to get back. It may take months for you to get back, or weeks. It varies from person to person, and it varies in accordance with how deeply and how attentively you watch your mind and question your mind. But in time, if you stick with it, the mind won't be able to fool you for very long. And eventually, the goal is that you will become so accustomed to noticing when the mind is misidentifying and noticing when the ego comes back up in your experience. You'll become so good at noticing that and so quick at noticing that it will no longer have the power to deceive you at all. And you can abide for longer and longer periods of time in a pure experiencing of yourself. And therein lies abundant peace. So I hope that through this video, I've kind of simply explained what the ego is, although the ego can be an extremely complex and diverse process. Fundamentally, it is simply misidentification of self, believing that you are one thing when in reality you are not that. And engaging in the process of self-inquiry can help you eliminate some of these misidentifications or see through them. See they are not a true foundation of yourself, that yourself is actually deeper than them, more true. And by going through this process over and over again, you can take away the power that the ego has over your life and eventually become egoless, living from this place of true self, true authenticity, and abounding peace and happiness. I hope that for you. I hope that you will at least take the time to investigate this topic and investigate yourself. Go through the self-inquiry process and see what you find. I'm not telling you to believe everything that I'm saying about what the ego is and how it works and how to be free of it, but it might be worth a look. So let me know if you do engage in this process. If you have any further questions, let me know down in the comments. But I want to thank you so much for watching and for supporting my content. If you like what I'm doing here, hit a like down below and feel free to subscribe to be notified for future videos as they're released. I've got some great content coming up that you will not want to miss. So thank you again, and I will see you in the next video.
Don't worry, I've got a lot more content for you to enjoy. Click the link to the right to see a video that goes hand in hand with what you just watched. On the left is a playlist I recommend you check out. And down below, you can see my latest video release. Your support means the world to me, so thank you.